So I'm super excited because this is my favorite part of the training, my favorite part of a class. I love music. I love how it makes me feel. I love how it makes my members feel, my participants feel when they come to a class. So I have a question for you before we get started. My question is, have you ever been to a class where something just felt off? It just didn't feel right. You didn't really know what it was or what made it feel weird or made it feel maybe choppy or just didn't feel right. Have you ever had that happen? Yeah, probably most of us have. So I have been to plenty of those classes where I felt like something just wasn't right, but I actually knew what it was, and usually it is because there is no fluidity to the class. Most of the time, if an instructor doesn't hear or understand 32 count phrasing or the 8 counts or feel the beat or hear the beat or the downbeat, then the class doesn't flow the way that it should. PIO is taught in a way that is to musical phrasing. So if you're not understanding it, hearing it, and knowing when to cue and when the next move comes, then it could really make for a very non-fluid class, a class that just doesn't feel right for your participants. So that's what we're going to talk about now, and it's literally one of my favorite things to train instructors on. For them to see it, hear it, and get it, and go, it makes sense now, is like, just to see the light bulb comes on for people, it means a lot to me as a trainer. So I'm excited about this part of our class. So what we will do is we will identify the beat, hear the 32 count phrasing, talk about the downbeat, talk about the 8 counts and how to find those, and we're gonna do some group time for this. So this will be really cool for you guys to go through this. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna break up into some groups. So we're gonna do, we'll break up into groups later. First of all, we're gonna do a group activity. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put on a song, and it's actually our virtual music that we play for PIO. I felt like without the words and all, it would be a good one to start with. So I'm gonna play the music, and what I want for everybody to do is go ahead and stand up, and we're gonna just tap our foot, or you can use your hand, tap your leg. I want for you to find what we call the beat, which is just the regular pulse of the music, okay? So we're gonna start with that. So I'm gonna play the music. When you feel like you hear the music and the beat, then I want for you to either start to tap your foot or to tap your side of your leg with your hand so I can see that you're hearing it. Okay, great. So normally I would do longer than that, but that's great. So it looks like some of you get it. Some of you probably are not quite hearing it yet, and that's okay. What we're going to do now is we're going to, and by the time we're done, and also you guys can pull me aside after this is over, and if you're just like, hey, I just don't get it, I'll be happy to try to work with you a little bit more and see if we can figure it out. But just right now, don't worry about it. Just try to pick up what I'm asking you to pick up, and we'll just go from there, okay? So the next thing we're going to do is I want for you to march to what we call an 8 count. So everything in 32 count phrasing is done in 8 count. So all of aerobics, anything that you do or choreography, most of it's going to be to 8 counts. There's 4 8 counts in a 32 count phrase of music. And so what I want for you to do is I want for you to actually just start to march, or you can do like out V steps if you want to. Any of you ever done step before? So you can either do V steps, or if you want to just march, I just want to be able to see that you hear the 8 count and that you understand where we start. So where I want for you to start is once you hear the top of that 8 count, then I want for you to start moving your feet, okay? Okay, great. So some of you got that, and it's natural for you, and especially if any of you have had any kind of music or work with music, play an instrument or anything like that, it's a little bit easier. And if you haven't, it may take a little bit more time, but I don't want you to get frustrated. I want you to understand that it just takes a little time to get it. But let me tell you, it is like riding a bike. Once you get it, there's nothing you can do to take it away. You'll go to a class once you get this, and you'll feel like, oh my gosh, what is she doing? She's not on the beat. And it's like you can't get off of the beat. So don't get frustrated with it. I want you just to be patient with it and just keep working on the skills that we talk about today and practice it, okay? Because it will come, I promise. So now we're going to look for the downbeat. So the downbeat is the very first beat in an 8 count. So we found the 8 counts, we found the regular pulse, we found the 8 counts. Now I want for you to find the downbeat. The downbeat's the first count in that 8 count. So I'm going to play the music again, and then what I want for you to do is to raise your hand for me. Let's do that. Let's raise our hand once you hear that first downbeat each time. So we'll do a couple of phrasings so that you can hear it and give you the opportunity to find it. Okay, awesome. So you guys got that. That's great. So you can hear that first beat, and the music even kind of lets you know it's coming. So it kind of builds up to it, and then it's like a hard beat on that first 8 count. And that's usually where we start our 32 count. Okay, so I ran out of space for my storage, so I had to cut this one in half just a little bit. All right, so now we're going to go to our group activity 2, which is where we're going to talk about cueing and make sure we're cueing at the right time. So when we're teaching class, if we cue too early, then our members will get ahead of us, and it will kind of throw them off a little bit. If we cue too late, they'll be so far behind us, it's hard for them to catch up, and they're constantly having to play catch up with us. So it's so critical for us to cue at the correct time, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. We want to start our cueing on 5, 6, and 7 before we get to 8. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a little group activity where you guys are going to do this with me. We're just going to say 1, 2, 3, 4. This is where we cue 8, okay? So go ahead and stand up, because we're actually going to go through our warm-up a little bit, and we'll do some of the moves for our warm-up, and we will use some of the cues. But before we do that, I just want you to get used to saying the 1, 2, 3, 4, this is where we cue 8, okay? So let's do that together. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, this is where we cue 8. Let's do it one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, this is where we cue 8. So when I say this, that's on our count 5. That's where we need to start our cueing. And it's also going to be important to make sure that you condense your cueing down to where it's just the absolute most important things that we can say that lets them know what's coming, because we only have a couple of words that we can get in. We don't have a whole sentence we can use really during that amount of time. So we have to get it in quick. It has to be short and sweet, and that they know what it means and what's coming, okay? So we're going to actually do the warm-up. We'll do some warm-up moves. We'll do the 1, 2, 3, 4, the fan up and fold forward with the bend knee twice, okay? So we're going to do that together. So let's go through that activity. As I'm going through the moves, I want for you guys to say 1, 2, 3, 4, this is where we cue 8. We'll do that a couple times, and then we'll start to actually say the cueing of what's to come. And we'll just do it all together, so don't pay attention to what anybody beside you is saying. So we'll just do the inhale overhead, exhale forward fold, bend the right knee twice, bend the left knee twice. Okay, so that's kind of what the cues will be. So let's go ahead and go through that. Blah, blah, blah. So we've gone through that. Okay, great. So you guys did awesome with that. So that helps us know kind of what's to come, and it helps the members to know what's to come next, and make sure that they're with us, they're on the same count as us, they're not falling behind, and they're not jumping ahead of us, okay? So what we're going to do now is we're going to break up. We're going to take about 10 to 15 minutes. We're going to break up in our groups, and I'm going to break you up in groups of 4, and then we're going to practice the cueing together. So I'll play the music, and I'll just keep playing it over and over and over, give you guys a couple of minutes each to do that, and you're just going to practice those cues. You can choose any of the 4 moves. You can do the fan up, the lunges, whichever you want to do for the warm-up, but it'll be the warm-up music. The main thing I want you to do is to practice the cueing with one another and give each other feedback. So if it's not perfect, don't worry about it. Like I said, you may not get it today. It may be brand new to you, and that's okay. Don't worry about it. You've got plenty of time to go home, practice it. The main thing is that you are at least beginning to understand where these things need to go, and understanding the musicality and the 8 counts, the 32 count phrasing, that kind of thing. So all we're going to do is practice together, give each other some feedback, and let me know if you have any questions. And I'm going to play the music. I'll turn it off, turn it back on, give you time to swap out, and each of us is going to go through it 2 times a piece. So let's go. Good luck.